Start from the beginning. Let's just talk about this game of economics and why it's important. Economics is critical because that is the #1 source of slavery in America. Economics is the #1 reason that black folks feel constrained, that we feel like we can't do what we want to do. Has anybody gone to work and dealt with racism on the job? Raise your hand if you've seen that. Right, the vast majority of us. Anybody ever stressed out over money or seen just tough situations over money, or seen somebody make bad choices over money? Raise your hand if you've seen that. Right, somebody go to jail over money, get killed over money. You got women out here sleeping with ugly men for money. Right, you got guys taking penitentiary chances for money, all kinds of stuff. And a lot of us, and this is a sad and crazy and unfortunate reality, and this is why the money conversation is so important for us, is because I'm gonna tell you, I'm from Kentucky. Now let me just tell you this, my friends from the north think I'm from the south, but my friends from the south think I'm from the north. So I don't know if I'm a northerner or a southerner. I just know I love that southern food, and I know that I got a lot of roots right here in Atlanta. Me and my wife actually are moving to Atlanta, so Atlanta's a place I've been connected to. Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you this, my daddy is a old school southern black man, grew up on farms and chicken and stuff, and he was also a Vietnam veteran. So he's very mentally tough. He served his country in that way. Shout out to every veteran in the room. He was also a police officer for 25 years, so there was a lot of discipline in the house and things like that. And so I got a lot of my values really from him. He wasn't my actual father, biologically. My biological father got caught up on that other side of life, got involved with the drugs or whatever, and that kind of kept him on a different path. And my father that raised me, though, he did deal with drugs. He wasn't addicted to heroin when he came back from Vietnam. And I said, well, I said, Daddy, how did you quit using heroin? I said, heroin is a tough drug to walk away from. And he literally just said, I just stopped doing it. He said, I just looked at the life I would have as a drug addict, and I said, I don't want that life. I want to have a different life. And that's how simple, he kept things, like that Nike slogan, just do it. Don't get me wrong, some things are complex, some things take time, some of us are tougher than others, but sometimes it's a matter of saying, I'm gonna just do it. Because my father, one thing he really taught me a lot about was certain codes of manhood and just what a man is supposed to do. Like, you just do it, you gotta get it done. You can whine about it. We got a society that'll encourage men to whine and cry and give up and walk away, abandon your kids, just let your woman starve to death and all this other stuff. But no, my father was the type that's like, no, you don't do that. As a man, you just find a way. You solve the problem. You do what you got to do, right? And so I'm a just do it kind of person because I do believe that everything that you have to do whatever it is you want to do or be whatever you want to be or go where you want to go, all that's already inside of you. It's just got to be pulled out. It's got to be pulled out. Like the Navy SEALs, one thing the Navy SEALs say is that when you have done something and you have done it to the best of your ability and you have given everything you got and you are exhausted to the point where you feel like you cannot continue another inch and you have to give up because you have nothing left inside, they said that's usually you've hit about 40% of your potential. They literally say that when you think you have been tapped out and you can't do another thing, you've only hit 40% of what you can be. So the question becomes, in my view, how do we get that other 60%? What does that take? And that's a spiritual process. Anybody ever gone through that? Anybody ever gone through like a situation that was so rock bottom, like your worst nightmare, the worst time of your life, where you just couldn't take it no more? And then what did that do? That made you into like a stronger, better person. That's how you grew. That's and if you look at every superhero and you look at the origin story of any superhero in a Marvel comic book or DC, anything like that, go look at anybody ever like read the comic books or watch the superhero movies? Yeah, anybody ever notice how every superhero, their origin story, the place where they became a superhero was always a terrible, terrible experience. It was always something really bad that happened, like they watched their whole family get chopped up in front of them, or they got melted in a radiation facility, and then they regenerated and became the Hulk or something like that, right? So a lot of times I think that's to me when I see that, what I see is God's training camp. I think, and the problem is that we have such a wimpy, wussy, weak society now that people block you from that. They block you from anything that's hard, and they say, oh, but that's traumatic and da-da-da. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I don't think kids should be traumatized. Don't get me wrong, unnecessarily. But some of the things you might call traumatic about my childhood, some of the things I went through that were really, really tough, that made me a tougher person. And if I could go back and change a lot of it,